I'm Mrs. Kessers from Moss Jesuit High School, and this section is on graphing parabolas by using the Vertex. I'm going to show you two different ways that you can graph for parabolas, and this first one is by using the Vertex. So first, when we graph the quadratic functions, it is a parabola, which means if you graph f of x equals x squared, it's going to look something like this with this smiley face right here. Now we've got some different qualities of these parabolas. So that means your characteristics of parabolas are going to be f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So it's just like when we're using our quadratic formula, your a, b, and c, that's where these a, b, and c also come into play. So if you have f of x equals 2x squared, where your a is greater than 1, that means we're going to have a skinnier graph. Okay? If we have something like f of x equals 1/3 x squared, and your a instead now is between 0 and 1, you're going to have a little bit of a wider graph. And then finally, if you have f of x equals negative x squared, where your a is less than 0, you're going to have it flipped upside down, and it's going to look like a frown face rather than a smiley face. So that's something like what this graph would look like when it's going to be negative all the way out in front. Alright, so there are some characteristics of our parabolas. Now let's go ahead and graph one. Let's say we have f of x equals 3x squared minus 6x plus 5. You want to find the vertex of that parabola and make sure you have it in your a, b, and c. Okay, so our a is 3, our b is negative 6, and our c is 5. So when you have, this is going to be the point, your vertex is going to be these 2 points, where here's your x and here's your y. So to be able to find your x, go ahead and make it x equals, it's going to be the opposite of b. So our b is negative 6, so it's going to be the opposite of that. So you have a negative of a negative 6, which is really just positive, and then all over 2 times 3. So I have 6 over 6, which is going to be 1. So that means the x-coordinate is going to be 1. Now to be able to find our y-coordinate, you actually have to do f of whatever you found as your x-coordinate. So we want to find f of 1. So that means I'm going to take 1 and I'm going to plug it into my equation. So 3 times 1 squared minus 6 times 1 plus 5. So this 3 times 1 squared is just going to give me 3, and then this 6 times 1 is just going to give me negative 6. So 3 minus 6 gives me negative 3, plus 5 will give me 2. So that means that my y-coordinate is 2. So I want you to graph the point 1, 2, which is going to be over 1, up 2. So there is my vertex. Now, find the axis of symmetry. So what I want you to do is, wherever this point is, I want you to draw a vertical line going up and down. And I want you to make it dotted. Right after you graph your vertex, do that dotted point. And your axis of symmetry is always going to be x equals whatever your x-coordinate is. So it's going to be x equals, in this case, 1. Don't tell me it's just 1. It actually is the line x equals 1. Now I want you to find another point. Now, because your axis is symmetry, that means that if I have a point over here, I'm going to have a point on the other side 1 spot away. If I have a point up here that is 1, 2, 3 spots away, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 left and have another point here. So let's go ahead and pick a point to plug in. You always want to go left or right, just 1. Now, it's really easy to plug in 0. So that means that I'm going to find a point. I want x to be 0. So I'm going to have the point 0, comma, something. So I need to plug 0 back into my original function, which means I'm going to have, if I plug 0 in here, you have 3 times 0 minus 6 times 0 plus 5. So let me write that out. So f of 0 is 0 squared, or 3 times 0 squared, minus 6 times 0, and then it's going to be plus 5. These just both give me 0. So that means my f of 0 equals 5. So that means I have the point 0, comma, 5. So let's go ahead and graph that. So 0, comma, 5, 0, comma, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is right here. So that means I'm going to go 1 step over. If I go on the other side, since it's the axis of symmetry, I'm going to have 1 step over, and it's going to be up 5 also. So here is my parabola. And it is positive, and you have this first leading coefficient is 3, which means it's greater than 1. So I have a skinnier graph, and it's going up. Alright, so if you have any questions, make sure you stop in and see me in the math office or email me at kesterse@walshjesuit.org. I'll see you in class.